Hey guys, this is my review of the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, which is a free-to-play game on Steam or Uplay. Don't think many people use Uplay, so it's more popular on Steam from what I've seen. I haven't really seen many people playing it directly from Uplay, but I guess not many people use Uplay anyway. This game is basically just you building a castle that you've bought at the start of the game, and then you get like traps and monsters and you buy them, you put them in or you craft them, and then to get money or resources, you can go and raid other players' castles and you get special items and stuff from them as well that you can then use to upgrade your own castle, and then you also level up your character. I'm not sure if like leveling up your character really does anything that special apart from like increasing your skills and possibly your damage and health. And also, if you level up your castle, it levels up all your units that you buy to defend it. If people raid your castle, they can get resources from you, which are kept in your castle's vault. And basically, the point of this game is try and get to, I think, like level 35, which is the max like area level for this game. And then basically, once you reach it, you kill the end boss, and then that's it for the main story of the game. But you can play multiple characters through the missions, and then you can level each of them up. And then you've also got tournaments, which is basically where people who play the game excessively decide to verse off each other, trying to beat a timer or whatever the thing is for the tournament that they have to do. So basically, you're just running around shooting things, trying to get more money for your castle. There's not really any single player gaming to this or campaign that you can really play. There are like missions that have been preset for you for the story of the game, which basically I think there's like five or four in the very beginning, and you get something unlocked, which is basically the tutorial stages. And then after that, there's only really 1 or 2 stages per each region. And then the regions are basically just the level areas, so they'll usually have like 5 different levels, whether it be like 14 to 20 or whatever. And then basically they just chuck a heap of castles in from other players, and then other people can play on them. I think around about level 20 or so to start becoming more computer-made castles, because I think they must have been running out of like human players, since you can only really attack a castle every 8 hours or so. Otherwise, they don't really get any special loot at the end. They get like a shield icon, which is basically where you get like loot from killing monsters and stuff, but you can't get loot from the actual castle vaults. And then there's a leveling up system for your castle. So basically, if like people can rate it, and then you can also get a score based on how difficult you make your castle. I did notice though that some people kind of sucked, and they just leveled up their castle, and then they left like one little chicken sitting in it. Even at like level 18, you were still getting people who were doing that, which kind of like ruined it a little bit. I mean, you still get heaps of XP for killing them, but I mean, you'd think that they'd at least try if they're playing the game to that sort of level up that high. I mean, at level 5 and stuff, you kind of understood because not many people knew how to play the game yet, so it didn't really bother me when you found people like that. But when you get up to a high level where you've been playing for like hours, you kind of just get annoyed at it. But anyway, in this game you can also get like XP boosts and boosts to get more resources and stuff. And basically, if you get an XP boost, I think you can get one that gives you plus 100% or something. So I think I used that at one point, and you'd get like a level up every 3 castles or so. So that was fun. The gameplay kind of gets a wee bit boring around about level 20 because everything just seems the same. I think they probably needed more rooms or something, or more easier way to make castles harder for people, because you kind of get to the point where everyone seems to have the same sort of layout with the same sort of rooms, and then they've just like pretty much chucked all their bad guys into a single room, or all their minions into a single room, and then all the traps are pretty easy to get by. I don't think there was any that were too difficult. But yeah, but basically I don't think that they were like super hard to beat most of the castles. Some of them you do kind of die in them, and then especially when it lags. There's quite a lot of lag sometimes on these servers, you'll be like trying to use a health pot or something, and it will just lag out and kill you, which is really annoying, but it happens in online gaming. Usually the servers are pretty good though. I don't think there were too many times when the servers really annoyed me, but when they do annoy me, it's really bad, and I always end up dying. Basically, if you die, you don't really lose too much, you just lose all the items that you picked up, and then you can either pay, I think, 2,000 gold or something to pick all the items up and continue from where you died. But then you lose out on all the stars. I'm not really sure what the star bonus does. I'm not sure if it gives you like bonus XP or anything. I didn't really notice any sort of bonus from it, apart from that, like, you get loot at the end of the castle. Otherwise, there's not really a main story to this game or anything like that. It's just boss fights. Boss fights are pretty easy. You get like a mission or something, and you just have to do it on a castle that's been made by some random person somewhere in the world. It's usually pretty easy. It's just like their castles will be a lot bigger than the ones you used to though. Even though they're meant to be still on a certain level for the game, they're still pretty easy when it comes to it. You can attack castles higher than your character level, but usually it's only by 2, otherwise it complains and says that they're out of your league, which really annoys me, because quite often your character gets so strong that pretty much 2 levels above you is still ridiculously easy for you. So then you sit there having to just play weak players until you can level up your character enough to play someone of an actual good skill level with you, who's actually made the castle hard enough to be worth playing on. And then you can get loot and steal loot from other players. And to get resources, you can also build wells in your own castle, which you can then upgrade to gather resources for you while you're offline. Which is alright, but I mean, they don't gather a heap of resources. It's usually quicker just to play a couple games against random players and get XP at the same time than to bother leveling up your mines and your wells or whatever to get resources. You do have to keep your castle leveled up with your character, otherwise you get a negative XP bonus. Well, not a bonus, but it's like a consequence for not leveling up your castle with your character. I think that happened when I used my XP boost. I leveled up so fast that I just wasn't getting enough resources to level up my castle at the same time. But, I mean, it does a negative 60% XP, which kind of sucks. But, I mean, it's probably worth it, because otherwise you're just going to have players who never level up the castle and just sit there playing, which kind of makes it harder, since if there's not enough castles for people to play on, then this game would obviously fail. But I mean, they didn't have too much of a problem, and when they start running out, they just add in computer castles. Otherwise, there's also the clans and stuff. They don't really serve much of a purpose apart from letting other people test your castle to validate it so that other people can raid it for you. Yeah, I don't think this game was too much pay to win. I don't really see too many people buying actual items from the game. There were a couple that bought like heaps of defenses for the castle, but that seems pointless since you don't really lose that many resources when you get attacked anyway. I think you usually only lose like 200 or 300 resources. So I thought buying items was kind of pointless. But I mean, hey, if you want to spend money on the game, then go ahead. It's free, so I guess it's not really a bad thing to spend money on a game, especially if you like it. Then you should definitely support whoever made it. But yeah, but if I had to rate this game, I would only give it a 6 out of 10, because I mean, it's only like 5 good hours of fun, and then it just kind of starts to get boring after there. I mean, you can still have fun later in the game, but it just sort of like slows down, and you start losing interest in it. Like with most games that drag on for a while, especially when it comes to online gaming, with MMOs and MMORPGs, they just kind of drag on after a while. Whereas single player games, you kind of got like 12 or 16 hours of good gameplay, and then it's over, and you got a continuous storyline. But this game doesn't really have a very strong storyline. It's more just centered on fighting other people's castles. So yeah, if you don't agree with my opinion, then drop what you thought of the game in the comments below, or if you do agree with it, still drop your what you thought of this game in the comments below this video. Otherwise, I'm only going to give it a 6 out of 10. Okay guys, see ya.